Hey everyone, welcome back to the Dairy Raid. And the other day, I put together a piece on my Substack talking about fourth down decision making. And it was brought on by listening to an episode of The Buck Around and talking about comparing Luke Fickell and Paul Chris when it comes to fourth down decision making. And it inspired me to write the piece because the question of analytics versus instincts, I guess is the easiest way to put it, just popped in my head. And so many people are infatuated with analytics. Anyways, if you want to read the piece. Afterwards, I got this really great comment by John. And basically asked, giving some counterpoint to some of the things in my piece, which is what a great comment should be doing. And leave it there for a second for you guys to read. And then my response was basically, I'm going to make a video about it because I could write a novel about this situation. So that's what we're going to do. John, thank you for the push to make this video. It's a great questions or a great response to my piece that you came out with, and I think it deserves some further look. So we're going to dig into his breakdown of my piece and his response, and I'm going to give counterpoint to his response, and we're going to go from there. Okay, so here we are with the first part of John's comment, and again, if you want to read the whole thing, it's going to be down below in the description. So here we go. Maybe I'm misinterpreting the post, but are you suggesting analytical models on fourth down decision making don't take field position into account? It is a pretty popular input for the most popular ones I'm familiar with, since they're all based on maximizing a team's win probability. So am I suggesting that statistical models do not take field position into account? No, I am not. In fact, what I wrote was the number one factor in choosing whether or not to go for it on fourth down is, of course, field position. And for coaches who coach with their guts and their instincts, it's still the number one reason to go for it or not. It's fourth down. On the 19-yard line, I'm punting. It's 4th and 10 on my 10-yard line. I'm kicking the field goal. The opponent's 10-yard line. I'm going into the end zone. I'm kicking a field goal. It's 4th and 1 on the 2-yard line. I'm going for it. Field position is the number one. Because with a lot of times, if you with just field position, instincts tell you to go for it based on what you see on field position. But for me, that is where it ends. Because then you also will get factors that change what the field position says to do. And that is what I'm talking about when it comes to instincts and understanding your own team when it comes to play calling. Because the down and distance chart tells you that you should be doing outcome A when you know your team better and you can use outcome B. And like I said, analytics is a great tool for research to understand your opponent and your own team. But where I struggle with the analytics community is making a decision based on what a chart says and not what I think is the right decision. That's where I draw the line, and that's where I, as a coach, trust myself over what a chart says. from a fan's perspective, I tend to bristle when I hear coaches talk about trusting their instincts, because that seems to like, one, an incredibly arbitrary way to make decisions, and two, a way to deflect blame even more than deferring to analytics. It feels like coaches are always saying, I'm an expert here and I make decisions based off of a unique intuition that is only known to me, and since there's no way to objectively evaluate that intuition, my decisions can't be criticized. So the way that I would put that to respond to that would be, yes, coaches are experts. That's why they're hired to do their job. And intuition and instincts and feeling come from experience. Coaches don't make arbitrary decisions. Coaches make decisions based on what they feel is best in the situation at the time. And that information, that decision, the information used to make that decision can come from a myriad of different avenues, from past experiences to analytical research to, I used to coach that team, I know the players over there. There are a million different things. So any decision a coach makes is not arbitrary. I mean, honestly, making a decision based off a chart just because a chart says that I should go for it on 4th and 10 from my own 20-yard line, that's arbitrary. That is using a single data point to make a decision, and you're taking the human element out of it, and you're taking the power that you gave me as a coach, that you hired me to do, out of my hands, and we're trusting a piece of paper. Yes, I know that that chart was devised by calculations based on hundreds of data points, whatever. But at the end of the day, now you're deflecting your blame to something else. Not even a person, something else. When a coach makes decisions, they are saying, I know what is best in this situation, and I am the expert in this decision, in this situation, and that's what you hired me to do. So, I agree that it's coaches saying that I am the expert here. But this unique intuition, it's not unique. You have an entire coaching staff, you have players, everyone's bought into the same game plan. So we're not making decisions because we feel like it. We're making decisions because we want to win football games, because we want to influence that win probability better than what a chart does. You're right that there are certainly nuances, strength of opponent, one's own team's particular strengths and weaknesses that most statistical models don't capture. However, I'd argue that people are actually quite poor at evaluating risk to begin with, and they are really bad at weighing the kinds of trade-offs at play when considering what to do on 4th down. So to that I say, John, if someone is bad at evaluating risk, then coaching football is the wrong job for them. Every decision you make on a football field is made through risk evaluation. You're trying to put your team in the best situation to succeed based on the information that you have in front of you, and you are weighing the pros and cons, and you're making a decision. That's evaluating risk. And by the way, you have to evaluate that risk in the time that it takes for them to seat the ball and about 15 seconds. You've got 40 seconds at best to make a decision. And to be honest, for me, the thing that takes the most time in coming up with the decision of what to do in any particular situation, whether it's 4th and 1 or 1st and 10, is not what to do, is to find it on my chart so I can relay it via the code system to my quarterback. I call the plays directly to my quarterback. And so I have to find it on my chart. I can find the play. I know the play I want to do. And I have to find it so I can relay the red 6, the blue 14, whatever it needs to be, to him so he can make the play call in the huddle. So evaluating risk is what I do. It's in my job description. And There have been coaches that have been doing this a lot longer than me that would say the same thing. I can understand deviating from the model if you're really only considering one obvious data point, opting to kick a longer field goal if you have a good kicker, for instance. But if a coach is trying to weigh multiple competing data points that are fuzzy in nature, my team seems tired, but we have momentum, but the other team's run D is good in short yardage situation, but their offense hasn't moved the ball this half, he's probably better off trusting a model that is based off thousands of actual historical outcomes. Yeah, if a coach has problems weighing all that information and making a decision in a timely fashion, then he should absolutely trust the model. And when you have a coach that trusts the model and uses the model for their brain, guess what? I know that. Because we have access to the same models. And if the historical data says to do this, and you follow the model 100% of the time, boy, you're easy to scout. And now I know what you're going to do, because I know that you don't deviate from the plan. That makes my job easy. When it comes to self-scouting, one thing that I really focus on when I use analytics to scout myself as much as I scout my opponents. And I try to look into the situations and saying, am I being too predictable? Am I relying too much on my past responses to situations? And I try to come up with new ways to answer the same question. That's what keeps my job fresh. But to say that coaches who try to need to weigh multiple data points at the same time that have an ambiguous result, again, that's coaching, and that's what makes coaching fun. If all coaching was looking at a chart and just doing exactly what the chart says, then what am I there for? Okay? You can pay some intern to put the chart together, and you could stand a grad assistant on the sideline, and he can call plays because all we're doing is reading off a chart. Charts are good. I don't want to say the charts are bad. I don't want to say analytics are bad. I use them myself. But I make the decisions, not a chart. And that's the difference. And that's what I'm trying to say. Analytics have been used since the dawn of time for decision making. But nothing beats a coach who knows what they're doing. Because they can expect the unexpected, they can produce the unexpected, and they can win with the unexpected. If you just follow analytics and you just follow the trends, you're shutting your brain off. When I ask you a question, I don't want you to go to Google to find it. I don't want you to go to Wikipedia. I want to hear your response. If I wanted to hear Wikipedia's response, I go look at it myself. And it's the same thing in coaching. If I just wanted to watch robots coach against robots, I would just put Madden on the TV and let the game play against itself, and you'll see the same outcomes over and over again. Okay? So, John, fantastic response to my piece. I thank you for the long comment, and you really gave me some good points to talk about. I hope this clears up a little bit of my point of view when it comes to the analytics versus instincts argument. Everything has their place, but you want a coach to coach and not a computer. All right, so that's it for today. Coming up soon, we're going to be talking about the evolution of the air raid offense in year 2 at Wisconsin. So look forward to that. See you next time.